She has a 3-month-old baby girl that she just had. Married to me. She's an author, speaker, motivational. She's a great mother, friend. She's, I guess, going to tell y'all about some of the things that she's been through throughout her life and whatnot, and how she overcame, and give you some guidelines of how to choose Christ and going the same way, and knowing that you can still be, I guess, that cool person or whatever, and still choose Christ. So without further ado, Christiana Sutton.
Oh my gosh, that was fun. I didn't expect him to introduce me. That was very entertaining. Hey ladies. Oh, we done made it. Look at this view. It's nice up here. This is beautiful. Before I cut up, because I'm known to do that, I'll give God all the honor and glory for this beautiful moment. How's everyone doing? I'm going to talk to you, and I'm going to expect y'all to talk back. Cool. First thing first, Tanya is not here, but before I get started, I just want to say I'm very grateful for this opportunity to even come to your space, to be a small snippet of this beautiful weekend y'all want to have. I don't take it lightly. I'm definitely going to try my best to just imprint a little bit and just go about my day. So I get really nervous around strangers. It's just one of those things. I don't like talking to people that I don't know. So on 3, I'm gonna have everybody say their names. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right. Now my name is Tiani once again. So I met y'all. We're friends. No strangers here. So what I'm gonna do is something like a cadence call. I'm gonna sit down because I don't like talking at y'all. I'm gonna do a cadence call. It's kind of like if I say something to y'all and you just repeat it back to me. Cool. Practice. So if I was like, hello, you'll say, hello. Okay. If I was like, okay, you'll say. And then of course if I said, period, you'll say. Period. All right. That was just for my entertainment. So really, what I want y'all to repeat is, I am free. I am free. And then I want y'all to match my energy. I am free. I am free. Yeah. I'm free from distractions. I'm free from distractions. I'm free from distractions. I'm free from distractions. All right. So I'm going to talk to you all about the spirit of perseverance. Persevere in 3 areas of your life. So your life challenges, your personal growth, and your relationship with God. So all of this is like a stepping stone into a new area of life. Some of y'all going to college, some of y'all going to high school. There's a lot going on here. So this is just the perseverance in the spirit of the newness of your life right now. I'm going to start with some examples of my own life, just have some relatability there, and then I'll just apply it to you and see where you can go with that. And then we'll go about our business. What's your name? Lindsay. Lily? Nice to meet you, Lily. Can you do me a favor? This is the definition of perseverance. Can you read it out loud for everybody?
Continue effort to do or achieve something despite difficulties, failure, or opposition. The action or condition or an instance of persevering. Steadfast.
All right, go ahead and keep that. It's so steadfastness, right, and unwavering, and doing something despite, say despite any type of difficulty, any type of delay, in achieving that success, right? So no matter, I'm gonna backtrack, that's how I learn stuff. So no matter how hard something is, no matter how much it delays you, you're still gonna remain steadfast, unwavering in what you set your mind to do, right? So we're gonna talk about the spirit of that. I chose 3 different areas because you have the power. Everybody say power. You have the power and the control. Say control. In 2 specific areas, and I just want to make sure that we own those 2 areas. So, does anyone know what 2 things you can control? Like 2 things that you absolutely have the control of. You can throw it at me. Guess I'm going to wait for an answer. So, yourself. Yes. 2 things. Your actions. Anybody else? I'll take one more. Okay, we'll go with yourself and your actions. So your attitude and your actions. Those are the two things that you're in control of. You have the power over that. You can control how you respond to things that happen to you, that's your attitude, and you can control what you do, right? Those are your actions. So I want you to take that into consideration when we're talking about your journey and where you've been so far and where you'll go in the future. So we're gonna break this down. Y'all doing okay? All right. So I'm from the South Bronx, New York, okay? BX, stand up. I didn't think so. So when I moved here, I was homeless for 2 years. We've been in Raleigh this whole time, but we moved straight from New York to Raleigh. I was homeless for 2 years. In the process of that, before coming here, and a couple years after that, I was actually sexually abused by my father. I ended up dating a 20-year-old guy at 15 years old. And that relationship, it was toxic to say the least, just the least. I had no relationship with God. I was an atheist, right? So what that means is I just believe God literally did not exist. I was convinced wholeheartedly. And lastly, I was bullied in elementary school. So as I grew up, going to middle school, high school, college, all that stuff, I was a people pleaser, very strong. I just seeked approval, smoking, drinking, partying, anything to put myself in the spotlight so that people can see me and I can feel seen. Those are just some of my life experiences, and I'm going to touch bases off of those things. But everybody say spirit of perseverance. So I'm going to give you an update. So 26 now. I told you I was homeless, but I'm in the process of owning the house that I live in right now. I have a healthy, a safe, and a very loving relationship with my father. I'm married to that fine black man right there. We do have a 3-month-old, which I'm so excited about. We don't have to talk about children right now. I follow Jesus Christ, that's my Lord and Savior, and I've come a long way spiritually in that aspect. And then, last but not least, I wish somebody would try to prove me right. No, just kidding. I just became so much more confident in myself. No longer did I need other people's approval of who I am. I moved to the rhythm of my own drum. I'm clear vision, wholehearted, fearfully and wonderfully made. I definitely allow myself to control my day and not look for other people for that approval. In Jesus' name, okay? I just know who I am. I'm free. I am free. So what happened, right? I just became steadfast in pursuing a more prosperous life, something that I felt I was okay with living, not something I didn't want to continue to be victimized and be the consequence of a specific circumstance. So what I did was kind of set my mind to be able to maneuver in a way where I can get my mindset out of all these things that were holding me back. I feel like I'm in a role with girls that are looking to persevere, wanting the best version of themselves, excited about the next version of themselves. This is why I'm bringing the spirit of perseverance to you all. I want you to see that I'm coming from a place, ended up in a place, and that's because of my own actions and my own attitude, because I am in control. So what does that look like, right? So it looks like getting out of bed when you just want to, hide yourself from the world. Anybody shut themselves in before? Not going anywhere, not doing anything because I just don't feel like it. Not because I'm tired, I literally mentally cannot handle it. It looks like making that phone call, sending in that application, dressing for success, even when you already lost the hope and the dream and what you were already chasing. It looks like giving a couple hours in a craft that you may be good at and you just want to close up shop and you just want to give up. It looks like doing it anyways. Y'all say doing it anyways. It looks like continuing to do it anyways. So personal growth. Given the cards that I was dealt with in life, I found myself suffering a little bit from depression and anxiety. I skipped meals. I don't know if I can relate to anyone with this here, but I've skipped meals. I've locked myself away from the world, missing school, missing my job, risking everything, graduating, risking working, because I just didn't want to show up no more. I've even self-inflicted, I've cut myself before using the physical pain to mask the mental pain. as if that was going to help solve any of the pain. I just became a victim of unfortunate events repeatedly happening to me. I became cold and powerless to the world. I started to operate on autopilot. You know what I mean when I say autopilot? It just means that I was here, but I wasn't really here. Like, how can I reach the goals that I was aspiring towards if I couldn't even stay afloat? So I couldn't see past my trauma. I couldn't see past my hardship in life. Everyone say spirit of perseverance. Can I tell y'all something? I mean, I'm going to tell you something anyway, but it's not like you're going to stop and tell you something. So I'm going to tell you anyways. Happiness, and this is something that I had to internalize. It was so hard. I was so reluctant to really internalize this and own it for myself, but it's the God's honest truth. Your happiness is a choice. Your joy, and especially your peace, that's a choice. I know, it doesn't feel like it. I know, I get it. I'm not that crazy, I get it, I relate, but it's the truth, whether you see it or not. Once I changed my actions and my attitude, going back to the things that you can control, once I changed those actions and attitudes, I began to feel joy. I began to see peace and feel happiness. Even in the midst, even in the midst of all of my struggle, even when it was hard, I still felt those things because what can I control? My actions, my attitude. Physically, what I started doing was just working out, maybe some yoga, anything to get active, okay? Let's be realistic on what your next steps would be. Just being active helps you detoxify your body. It helps release some of that stress. You just go for a walk, do something, and not be cooped up in a place where you're allowed to continue to think about the things that are hard. I had to get my nails done, because girl, I like getting my nails done. Going for a massage, just doing things that I love. I love planting, stuff like that. I began to focus on who I was and what I like to do, and I began to actually act towards those things. Mentally, this took more work. It still takes work, and it's a daily battle. A daily exercise. It's not a battle. You just gotta work hard and strengthening your mind. I would keep scriptures in front of me, like Jeremiah 29:11. That reminds me that if God has a plan for me, there's something to still be hopeful for. There's something to still look forward towards, you know? I would fight, I don't know about you all, but I will fight until I am dead against these negative thoughts that flow in my head, because they don't serve me. These negative thoughts that don't make you feel good about yourself, they don't serve you, they serve your enemy. So you and I, we all deserve the joy, we all deserve peace. And I would love myself unconditionally because of that. There's no thought, there's no memory, there's nothing that I can trickle myself back to that's going to be able to tear me down further than what I already know. And that is that I have God by my side, and I do deserve the peace of Him. So you got to talk back to yourself. I hope you know there's a war out there for your soul. And although you feel like things are happening to you, things are happening because of you, because you're a force to be reckoned with, because there are things that you're going to do in this life that there's an enemy out there that don't want you to conquer towards it. So it may feel like it's happening towards and against you, but it's happening because you're here. So just be that force that your enemy knows you are. You're gonna feel things, you're gonna have emotions, you're gonna have feelings. That's just communication of your perception of the world. You're gonna feel things, and you don't have to go off your feelings. You can go off what you know is true. You got Bibles in your hand. You can go off what you know is true. That's a love letter from your Creator. That is the most truth that you'll find in this world. I want you all to go after being the best version of yourselves. All right, so I'm free. I like that, y'all picked up on that. I'm free from self-sabotage. All right, what's your name? Got you, right? Read this one.
Self-sabotage is often driven by negative self-talk, where you tell yourself that you're inadequate or unworthy of success. Behaviors that create problems in daily life and interferes with long-standing goals.
Man. So self-sabotage is something that we may do subconsciously. I want you to take some time. I don't actually have anything to say on that. I just want you to take time to research it and see if maybe in your daily life you're doing things that may be self-sabotaging. So, we good? We still friends? I'm saying a lot to y'all. We good? All right. Lastly, I'm going to talk about your relationship with God. Say my relationship. Because it's yours. And I can do my best to explain what your relationship with God looks like, but it's your relationship, right? You can tell me what my marriage should look like, but it's mine ultimately. I have to identify it for myself. So I used to be an atheist, like I said. I'm not here to judge anyone's spiritual journey because I was all the way against God. So this is not me saying what you should do. I'm just going to share my truths in my life. And let's see, I got you busy. Sugarfoot, what's your name?
Sydney.
Sydney, can you read that for me?
A person who disbelieves their life believes in the existence of God or God.
Like the entire existence. I'm going to take that because we're going to rebuke that and we're not going to do that with you. We're going to put this right up here. Do you maybe rip that up for me? I appreciate it. Thank you. So, the entire existence of God, like I didn't believe any of it, right? So I want you to feel a sense of passion for what Ms. Panya is doing, that she's aligning you with your creator, and there's people out here that would tear you apart from that. So the perseverance, in all seriousness, the perseverance is important because there's things you're gonna go through just because you decided to choose God. There's things you're gonna live through just because you decided to fight against an army that has been in existence eternally. Come from an atheist background, I challenged all religions, right? I wasn't looking for a savior. I was actually debating, challenging. I would see it doesn't matter what you believed in. You was Buddhist, you was in Islam. It doesn't matter what you believed. I just challenged it. I didn't believe that there was something in the sky. So all of that to say, because woo child came a long way. All of that to say that I wasn't looking for the blessing that God has put upon me. And this is why I'm passionate about explaining that you have so much access. Literally in that book, you have so much access to so much in life. I used to cope with situations, you probably said it before, it is what it is, right? Everything that I've been through, I just assumed it is what it is. There was no point to it, it just happened. I just ended up in the place that I was at. I ended up homeless. I ended up sexually abused for years by my biological dad. You know, girls were having daddy-daughter dates, and I was sitting here getting a restraining order against mine. I was dating a 20-year-old at 15 with a naive, silly mind of mine, thinking that he loved me, thinking we were gonna live a long life, and so much was happening to me back to back to back. It just is what it was. And that's just not the truth. That's just not how our God operates. See, I learned that nothing cannot make something, right? Let's talk logic real quick. Nothing can't make something. Ergo, something had to create us, right? Something had to think long and hard enough to bring into existence each one of you, literally everybody in this room. So that was fair game for me, right? All religion was fair game now because I was like, all right, if there's a God, boom, let's see where it's at. Just to give you the confidence of your God, I went through a lot of studies. I went through a lot of research to find what God was more logical. And when I say what God, there's a bigger world out here, right? We're in Raleigh, but there's a huge world out there. People believe other things, and we got to be understanding that other people believe certain things. So there's certain different gods and different spiritualities out there. I studied them all. I'm not a scholar, but I did research them all. I came to Christ learning that there was just so much truth in who he is, and there's so much just not how I felt about him, because I was still resentful for all the things I went through. I was still upset about Christ, but I still, historically speaking, scientifically speaking, archaeology, that word speaking, I was still like, well, I mean, the evidence is here, so let me look into it. Once I logically stepped into this faith, then I emotionally experienced it. So I had to be steadfast in pursuing God because of what I just told you. There was so much disbelief still in my mind. I was atheist for 23 years. So just about 4 years ago is when I started believing in Christ. So that disbelief started creeping back in. The more hardship I went through, I don't know if y'all have ever been like this, but the more hardship I went through, the more I resented God. The more I was just like, you said you loved me. Everyone says there's so much life with Christ. Everyone says that there's so much joy and peace and happiness, like I just said, but I'm going through all of this. So even with my anger, you know, I started to look at God like maybe I'm not a part of the group of kids that you had, you know. Maybe I wasn't a part of your goals. Have anybody experienced that? Anybody question whether God loves them, felt in a way? Yeah. Sometimes you go through stuff and it's just like, I don't know if you got your hand on me. I don't know if you really are looking at me because I wouldn't let my kid go through this, you know? And it's okay. It's okay to feel certain things, you know? Despite the circumstances, I did have to continue growing my relationship. I realized that at the source of my life was God, right? Just in existence, I'm here because of that. I knew it was essential to be grounded and to be connected to God for spiritual guidance. So what did I do? These are things that you can do. These are action steps that you can take in your new endeavors, right? So I got affiliated with a church I trusted. That looks different to everyone. You gotta know what kind of relationship you want and then who you want to teach you to grow that relationship. I hung out with God-fearing people. Now this is important. My grandma used to say birds of a feather flock together. All that means is that you are who you hang around. So I started hanging around people that love the Lord. Now here I was questioning God. Here I was just all over the place spiritually, didn't understand where I was gonna believe and not believe, but I hung out with people that were just so loving towards God. People like Panya, people that you're here sitting right now in an event that's giving so much glory to God. You got Bibles, you have things that are leading you to Christ. And that's going to trump any relationship you have that goes against Christ. I began reading and studying the Word because it's your relationship. Y'all said it's my relationship. You have to take action towards it. Like when you start dating somebody, you take action, right? You follow them on social media, you hang out with them, you ask them questions, you get to know them. That's the same thing about your relationship with God. I committed myself to Him. Y'all, I wanted this blessing so bad. I was willing to do whatever it took. So, hear me out. When you become a believer, you enter a covenant with God. You enter a relationship, kind of like a marriage, right? You enter this loving relationship where you play your part, God plays His. You can't play God's part, and God can't play your part. You commit yourself to Him. When you decide to step away from God, right? Because I gave Him my mind, my body, my soul. You can have it all, Lord. When I did that, I agreed to be with Him eternally. So one of the decisions that I made, because once I became saved, I felt really guilty for how much I persecuted people that were Christian. I felt really guilty for how much I talked bad about y'all, how much I was so against it, that I was just like, what can I control? What can I change to show God, like, I love you and I'm sorry? My decision was to abstain from sex before marriage. The reason why I did that was because I understood that I was in a relationship now. I gave you my mind, my body, and soul. If I connect with anyone else in those 3 areas, I'm now away from you and with that person. So if I gave another God my mind and my soul, and I worship that other God, I'm away from God. And I'm away from Him, and I'm choosing to not be with Him, so I can do that same thing with my body. If I gave someone my body that I didn't ask for permission from God to bless, then I'm stepping away from God to perform something that would take seconds, but it was against God. I hope that makes sense. Does that make sense? So I decided to abstain from sex. So I'm gonna tell y'all a story. We're gonna get out of here. This is the story. It gets juicy. Okay, so I met this guy. I don't even need this. So I met this guy when I was 14. We were in and out of a relationship for about 8 years. And when we finally got together, like when we were adults, we were like 20 years old, we started living together. I was still an atheist, he was a Christian, so everything was copacetic, like we were good. Once I gave my life to Christ, I came to him and I was like, hey, I gave my life to Christ, it's lit, we're both Christian now. But I realized that I have to submit to God. And what we were doing beforehand, I don't want to do anymore. I don't want to have sex until I'm married because I want to go to God for him to bless everything that touches me and everything that I touch. So like I said, I'm with this guy for 8 years. He could have told me, all right, well, let's just get married tomorrow. And I would have, look away there. I would have married him. Like, I would have married him. So because of that, I knew he didn't do that. He wanted to continue to have sex because he already felt that if we were doing something, there's no way God was going to backtrack, and there was no way that God was just going to say, this never happened, so you might as well keep doing it and ask for forgiveness. Although logical, not how God works. At any given time, you can decide to just give yourself back. Say, at this point, I want to give you this part of me because it's outside of my control. I want you to bless every relationship I'm in. My friendships, my families, my dating relationships. And because I wanted God to bless my relationship with this guy I was dating, I wanted to take that step to show him that I'm looking for your blessing. So we broke up. And when we broke up, I had a chance to be single and have solitude to myself. I was able to take care of myself, do these things that I told you about, planting, working out, all this stuff. And 6 months later, I met another guy. And I told this guy, so no one got special treatment. It was what it was going to be. Either you're going to wait with me until marriage, because if one person in the relationship is having sex and the other one isn't, it don't work, right? That doesn't work. Someone's not being faithful, and it's not the person not having sex. So because of that, I decided to tell every guy, these are my intentions. We can go out for a date, but this is what I'm looking for. So I met another guy, told him the same thing. His response was a little different from the initial guy, who I was headed with him for. I thought this man was gonna say, yes, you're right, let's do this for the Lord. But because he didn't, I knew that I had to be careful with every other guy that I was around. See, nobody is above God. Nobody, between me and you, your relationship with God is gonna be as powerful as it is. My relationship with God is gonna be as powerful as it is. There's nothing I can do to you that's bigger than what God can do to you, right? So because of that, nobody I was dating can give me anything that God couldn't give me. I couldn't give any guy that I was dating anything that God couldn't give them and be a million times more fulfilling. This guy I met, he decided that this was going to be a great opportunity for him to grow his relationship with God as well. So you need two people that come together. They're like a triangle. You're here growing your relationship with God. He's here growing his relationship. When you guys meet together, once you guys come together, God is at the top of that. And that's where your blessings come from, when you allow God to be a part of everything that you do. 6 months later, we were married, and it's been a blessing since. Now, everything that we do has that foundation in it. And I saved that for the last part of building your relationship with God, because like I said, spirit of perseverance is going to allow you to step away and say, there's nothing wrong with me deciding not to have sex. There was something wrong with the relationship I was in, and there was no way God can bless that relationship. Therefore, I had to go and be single and find the right relationship that God was going to bless with me. Small example. There's other things that you can do if you are known for anger. There's certain things that you can do to change your emotional stability, to change your emotional intelligence. If you're known to do things, steal, lie, whatever it was, sex was something for me that I knew, like, okay, I can control that. That is definitely something that I can work on, because I don't do anything else that I think God would notice as a sacrifice to, allow him to bless. So for that, we ended up married, like I said, after 6 months of that process. We did wait into marriage, and I'm gonna tell you one thing as a friend, it was hard. It was hard. Because when you love someone, it is what it is. There's parents coming, so we're not gonna go that deep. But at the end of the day, when you are in a relationship with God, that love surpasses all. That love is so fulfilling, and I promise you, anything you work hard for, once you get it, once you receive it, you're gonna look back at all the work that it took, and you're gonna say, that was so worth it. That's how I feel about waiting, and that's how I feel about now being in a marriage with someone that I can trust will go to God with me. So, ladies, you are in control, right? Trust me when I say you're in control. There's so many people speaking into your life right now. There's so many things going on, so many ideas, blessings, words of commitment and confidence coming from other people that we may not feel like we have our own minds right now, but you're in control of your actions and your attitude. You've already conquered. Y'all are winning. I heard some of the things y'all doing. I've been watching these vision boards since they got set up. Y'all are winning. I know girls already in y'all's like age group that are not actively doing things to better themselves already. So I know that I'm speaking to women that already know how to have a spirit of perseverance. Say winning. Say winning. Okay, friend. So never give up. Don't give up the fight. Just continue to fight to be greater. Whatever that looks like for you. Greater looks different for everyone. So whatever greatness looks like for you all, fight for that. Fight for your peace. Remember that it's you and you for the rest of your life, no matter who comes in and who comes out. My mom always told me that you were born alone, you're gonna die alone, there's only space for one person in that casket. So allow yourself to love yourself enough to find that peace, to find that joy for you, not for anyone else. And then just keep the spirit of perseverance alive. Say spirit of perseverance. Spirit of perseverance. All right. Thank you.